So I'm doing this legacy challenge that I've been posting here on my channel, and the Akiyamas have sort of become close friends of the family. Especially Jenna, who's best friends with my founder, Will. In a recent episode, I visited their house and I noticed that it was far too small for their family since Jenna and Kato have had 4 more kids since I started the series. They were like a full household in this tiny house that only had 3 beds. So today I wanted to build a new house for them. If you want to check out the legacy gameplay, I have a playlist on my channel that I can link in the description. I'm getting fairly close to starting on Gen 2 and it's already been a pretty wild ride. Like we had back-to-back twins, which was incredibly stressful. The 4 of them are all teens now, and our first set of twins, Haddock and Marigold, are about to age up pretty soon into young adults. Our second set were twin girls, Zoe and Iris, who should be teens for a few more episodes. And then we have little Rook, who's still just a child, and always sad. He's kind of an emo kid. It's because he has the gloomy trait, he can't help it. We're like a 7-sim household at the moment, and we're doing the whole off-the-grid and simple living thing. It's crazy, but it's also a lot of fun. I'm like legit obsessed with my legacy family, and I'm so excited to start Gen 2 and have the other kids move out and start building up their own lives. Haddock is gonna be our new heir, so he'll be sticking around, but Marigold will be moving out once she ages up, probably with her girlfriend. She's been dating this girl named Lindsay. Their relationship has been a little rocky so far, but I think they'll make it work. She's Bella and Mortimer's daughter, so yeah, you heard me right, we're dating a goth. And when Marigold moves out, I'm gonna make her a new house. And then once our second set of twins, Zoe and Iris, will grow up into young adults, I'm gonna also make houses for them. And then I'm gonna make a new house for our main family, which will be Haddock and his 2 dads, who will probably be elders at that point. And then Rook will probably be around while he's a teen, until he eventually also moves out, I guess. I think I'm gonna be making a country cottage home or something, since we've been kinda doing the whole farming thing, and I think it makes sense if that sorta influenced Haddock's aesthetic sensibilities. And I think it'll be a nice place for Will and Knox to retire and grow old together, and Knox is Will's husband, by the way. I think I forgot to mention that. I'm gonna be so sad once they become elders and eventually die. I love them so much. Knox is like my favorite pre-made sim now. I completely fell in love with him during this playthrough. Anyway, back to the Akiyamas. Since they're sort of recurring characters in the series, I decided to move them to Willow Creek, where my family lives, just so it'd be less of a hassle to visit them, but I still wanted their house to give a bit of a nod to their roots as citizens of Mount Komorebi. So my inspiration was the sort of mix between traditional Japanese architecture and more Western contemporary suburban aesthetics. I also used some snow escape decorations here and there as a way to sort of show their heritage, as if they decorated their new house with memorabilia from their old house to feel more at home in the new town. I was using this photo as my primary reference. You can see I tried to replicate the roofing style and the window placements, which I end up struggling a lot with. I also think that ridge on the roof sort of ended up looking a bit wonky since I forgot what key to press to customize the adjustments on roofs. I probably should have just removed it, but I got stubborn and wanted to make it work even when it wasn't. Trying to make stuff work when building in The Sims is my toxic trait. You can definitely tell that I struggled a lot with this build. It's very much out of my comfort zone, especially since I'm pretty new to building in The Sims 4, so I haven't fully gotten the hang of it quite yet, but I think I did a pretty good job, all things considered. This build took me a little over 4 hours to make, and you can definitely tell that I got a little lazy near the end, especially with the landscaping. That backyard is a bit sad, I'm gonna be honest. Their kids, Taku and Miki, are pre-made Sims and are children when you start a new save, but they've actually grown into young adults in my save, so I decided it was probably time for them to move out. They're now rooming together in San Myshuno, but the rest of Jenna and Kato's kids are still living with their parents, so I had to figure out how to make room for all 4 of them. The house itself is also pretty small. You can see how I sort of struggle to get everything to fit. I end up with this admittedly weird floor plan, where the upstairs is this one long hallway that I didn't really know what to do with, and the kids' rooms are all lined up and weirdly shaped. The downstairs isn't much better either, to be honest. The master bedroom ended up kind of a weird shape, and the open concept living room slash dining room slash kitchen was also a bit awkwardly shaped, though I think by the end it ends up looking pretty good and cohesive. I definitely could have divided the space up a bit better, maybe moved the staircase to a different spot, but if I'm gonna be honest, I just didn't really feel like making too many changes. And I kind of like the challenge of working with my first floor plan. It's kind of fun to build with some limitations. I think I might actually do a video renovating some apartments soon, because having that initial base you need to work with has me kind of excited, and I haven't really played much with city living yet. I was thinking I could do one of those every apartment is a different expansion pack challenge. I think that could be fun and would also give me a chance to explore all the build items from the different packs and get a better sense of what items are like actually in the game for my future builds. Before I started building, I looked at the family to see what traits they have and stuff like that to get inspiration. Jenna and Kato both have this sort of athletic go-getter vibe to them, so I kind of tried to represent that with the house. They both had the Mount Komorebi sightseer aspiration, so I figured that they're probably into skiing, hiking, stuff like that. Most of the Sims in the family disliked black and liked more brighter colors, so I went with a pretty bright color scheme for the build. A lot of light browns, light grays, yellow tones, pastels. Otherwise, I didn't really get too much to go off of, if I'm gonna be honest. Aside from their teen Stacy, their kids are just kind of boring, I hate to say, but it's true. Like, both their toddlers had the angelic trait and otherwise didn't have much else going on. Though I guess that's to be expected. Toddlers in The Sims 4 kinda don't do much, to be honest. And then their child, Aaliyah, I'll get to her when we start making her room. I struggled a lot with the layout of this kitchen, and I'm not really sure why, since it ended up being a pretty simple layout. I think I just got a little in my head and wanted to do something fancy, and I felt I needed more countertops to cook for whatever reason, but it just made the island way too big, which I thankfully realized, or I wouldn't have been able to fit in a living room. Eventually I got there when I stopped thinking about it too much. Sometimes the obvious answer is the right one. Admittedly though, this is probably not the best kitchen I've made, though I think that can be more chalked up to the lack of decorations rather than the layout. I probably could have added more clutter, but as I said, the laziness kinda kicked in. The living room, however, I actually really like, despite it also being quite bare. I think it just has this nice modern yet minimal vibe to it. I don't know. The Dreamhouse decorator couches are like some of my favorite items to build with. I love being able to customize the seating arrangement. Honestly, Dream Home Decorator is just a great pack in general. So many fantastic build items. Maybe I should do a playthrough doing the interior decorator career sometime. That could be fun, right? I haven't touched the career at all, but I love the Sims 3 equivalent in ambitions. I tried out some different coffee table variants and a little cupboard by the TV because I felt like I should fill up some of that space. But I eventually opted to just leave it empty, as I felt I was just kind of adding stuff for the sake of it and not because it would improve the room. I'm gonna be honest, I barely put any effort into my bathrooms. I just kind of make them look presentable and call it a day. I don't really see much reason to go all out on them. I mean, like, it's just a bathroom, right? So now that we have that bathroom clutter kit, maybe I should do one where I go completely balls to the walls. Since I actually really like that kit. I especially love this soap bar and stand that I placed here in these bathrooms. They look so nice. And I also love all the like little appliances like the blow dryer and the razor. I don't know why, I just think it's so nice to have them. So Haddock is sorta dating this girl named Katrina, who's the daughter of the Bjergsons. But to be honest, she's a little weird. I don't know. I mean, she seems like a lovely girl, but like there's a bit of a weird vibe there. So I'm not sure if their relationship is gonna last past high school. Plus, Haddock has this cool older friend named Minx Harris, who I think he has a bit of a crush on, but they can't actually date since Minx is already a young adult. He was a teen when they met, but he aged up like 2 days later, which was a little bit annoying. But now I've kind of made it into a storyline where like maybe Minx was like in the class above Haddock, and they kind of started becoming friends. And then Haddock eventually developed a crush on Minx, but Minx always saw Haddock as like a younger brother or something. Until maybe later when they become young adults. We'll see what happens. I just want him to date Minx. I love Minx. He's so cool and cute. He also has the knitting aspiration, and I just think that fits in with my cottagecore fantasy. Like, picture it, Minx knitting while Haddock does his painting in their cute little country cottage. Like, it's perfect. They're made for each other. One way or another, I'm making this happen. For the next generation, I think I'm just having like max 2 children. 5 is way too many. We were struggle buzzing there for a few episodes, though honestly we're still not doing so hot right now. 7 Sims is so much to manage. I mean, it's kind of fun, and I did fully do this of my own volition. Like I brought it on myself. But I think Haddock deserves a more relaxing environment in his adult life. He's like truly been our most well-behaved kid by far. Like all our other kids are constantly having temper tantrums and like mood swings and doing crazy shit. But Haddock, he just like does his thing. He like cleans. He's such a sweet boy. I love him. Jenna and Kato have these two toddlers who I assume are twins. Though I'm not quite sure, and also I do not remember what their names were because I didn't really care. I'm pretty sure Jenna only got pregnant 3 times during the playthrough, but I could be wrong about that. Either way, I just had them share one room. I felt that made sense, and I didn't really want to decorate 2 toddler rooms anyway, nor had any space for it. I didn't really have any plan going into their room, I just sort of winged it. Though there is kind of a sky/space theme going on, and I used a lot of like blues and mixed in with pinks. This unicorn decal I used was a little bit annoying to work with. It's like partially transparent, so when I tried to change the wallpaper, the color bled through. Like you can see how the blue goes through when I add that blue wallpaper. I think it's supposed to look like chalk or something, I don't know. I just wish it was fully opaque, to be honest, so it could be used on different colored walls. Like I don't want to have to compromise between either having a wallpaper or not use the decal. Just give me the option to do both. But whatever, I guess it's not really that big of a deal. We gotta just work with whatever we have when it comes to The Sims 4. Aaliyah is Jenna and Kato's 4th child, and I had like no information to go on, so I was kind of just winging it for her room. Her only trait was dog lover, so you see how I shove a bunch of random dog iconography here and there since it was like the one thing I had to go by. She also disliked the color black, so I tried to avoid that as well, but other than that, there was like nothing. Also, her room was the only one that didn't really work when I did some playtesting. For some reason, the toy box I placed underneath the bunk bed was blocking her from going up the ladder, so I begrudgingly ended up removing that. The items on the desk also ended up getting removed randomly when I loaded into the game, so I had to place them back, and I definitely did not place them the same way I did here in the video. So it's still all the same items, but in different places on the table. Otherwise, I'm actually quite happy with how her room turned out, especially since I had practically nothing to go on aside from dogs. I considered creating a dog for them to have, so Aaliyah would be happy, but I honestly don't like to mess with the non-played households in my saves too much. I'd prefer them to just do stuff autonomously, which was actually a big reason as to why I couldn't really get into The Sims 4 until they added story progression. I just didn't really like that The Sims you're not playing didn't really have anything going on. I want my game to feel alive. I want stuff to happen around my Sims that I don't have to initiate it myself. One of my favorite parts about The Sims 3 was to just go out and see what my neighbors were up to, or check up on what someone I'd moved out of my household was up to while I wasn't watching. I would often send my kids off to live on their own, and maybe they'd like get married or have children of their own, or maybe they'd randomly die. I don't know, it was always like chaotic and fun. Anyway, story progression is on, so maybe they'll get a dog on their own. We'll see, I guess. I did make it so Jenna and Kato won't have any more kids though. I think 6 is probably more than enough for the 2 of them. And I don't want to remake this whole house again. Moving on to the teen room now. Stacy is also someone who viewers of the series will recognize. She's the 3rd Akiyama kid and is best friends with Iris, who is one of my founder's daughters, and she's been popping up here and there throughout most of the series. She's a teen and has the trendsetter aspiration, which I took to mean she wants to be an influencer. I kind of use that as my jumping off point. You'll see me fill her room with a lot of Instagrammable pastel colors and some beauty clutter items like makeup and perfume and stuff like that. I don't have high school years, but if I did, I probably would have gotten like the ring light and the streamer setup or something like that. That probably would have been a good idea, but you know, I don't have that pack, so... Unfortunately, I couldn't do that, but like maybe if you download the room, you can replace some of the items and put a streamer setup there. Stacy's traits are loner and evil, which I ended up kind of forgetting about while building, so that's not really represented in her room. My bad. I used a lot of pastel pop kit for her room because it fit the aesthetic I was going for, but also I kind of just wanted to use it. I recently downloaded it and I like genuinely love every single item in that kit. Plabella hit it out of the park, to be honest. If they're gonna keep pumping out these kits, then I hope they do more stuff like this. I think it's so cool that they've been collaborating with people in the community and giving them the chance to put their stamp on the game. I'm so excited for growing together, you don't even know. I already pre-ordered and everything. We all know Generations was the GOAT, and I'm really hoping growing together will hold up against it. I mean, I doubt it will, it's The Sims 4, but I'm gonna be cautiously optimistic for this one. In the meantime, I think I'll pick more of the packs I don't have. If I'm gonna actually commit to this whole simming thing, I should probably have all the expansion packs, right? Right now I'm only missing, I think, 4 of the expansion packs and a bunch of the stuff in game packs, but I care a little bit less about those, if I'm gonna be honest. And kits, I'm missing a bunch of the kits, which I'm also not too bothered by. I'm mostly missing all the occult packs. I honestly just don't love occult gameplay too much, and I don't think I'll be getting much value out of them. Like, it's fun, and I'm glad it exists, but personally, that's not why I play The Sims. I'm more of a family gameplay kind of gal. I'll probably pick them up eventually, but for now, they're a low priority. I've been making some good use of that bundle deal EA has. As ridiculous as the pricing gets for these packs, I will say that I think the bundle deal is a pretty nice value. 3 packs for like 40 bucks? That's not bad at all. I can't decide whether I want Outdoor Retreat or Stranger Will next for the game pack. I know I just said I don't love occult gameplay, but something about Stranger Will drags me in. Well, I guess Stranger Will isn't exactly occult, more of like a sci-fi mystery vibe, but it's kinda in that same ballpark as like Werewolves and Vampires, where it deviates from the more real-life inspired packs. I don't really want to do the whole quest thing if I'm gonna be honest, but I kinda want the town. One pack I'm probably never getting though is Batu. I don't see myself using a single thing from it. I already don't care about Star Wars, so why would I want it in my Sims game? At this point, I've pretty much finished up all the main rooms aside from the master bedroom and the hallway, but I wasn't quite sure what to do with either of them, so I start just kind of procrastinating by going through the clutter sub-menu to see if I find anything I can add around the house. I add light switches to every room. I love having light switches in my builds even though they don't serve any function. It's those small details that really make a build feel more lived in. That's why I was really into the 2 clutter kits they released. All those small details make such a difference to convey the personality of the Sims living there. I really enjoy this little balcony moment over here. I wanted the house to be mostly a big block, but I felt I needed to break up the shape a bit with the 2 jut-ins at the front and the little protrusion on the back left side that makes up the master bedroom. For the master bedroom, I wanted to work with a bit of a different color palette than the rest of the downstairs, so I took inspiration from this bat swatch and used a lot of grays and light blues. I definitely didn't consider how awkwardly shaped this room is when I made the layout. I really had to squeeze the furniture in there to make it work. It does all work though, I just had to push the mirror a bit further back after playtesting, but otherwise they can go in the bed, no problem. And Jenna both has the active trait and likes fitness, so I added a weightlifting machine into the bedroom so she can train at home if she wants. Then I made like a little office area for Kato. I don't really know what his whole deal is, if I'm gonna be honest. We kind of just met him in my legacy challenge, but I thought it could be kind of cute if the 2 of them could hang out together in their room. Like Kato doing some work while Jenna is exercising or something. I don't even know what Kato's career is. He might not even need a desk. I probably should have checked on that before heading in, but whatever, he has a desk now. I messed around a lot with the window setup here as I couldn't find any drapes that would allow them to cover those windows, but I still really like the idea of having the windows on floor level as how it was in the reference photo. I ultimately just gave up on the practicality of it and they just have no drapes. Let's just hope there aren't any peeping toms in Willow Creek. At this point of the build, I'm pretty much done with the house itself and I'm just making sure everything looks alright on the exterior. I think at this point I make the dreadful realization that I haven't done any landscaping and I'm not even close to being done. Here I decided last minute that I wanted to have a sunken living room just to break up the space a bit, and that ends up being a bit of a pain. I honestly should have decided on that from the beginning, but hey, you live and you learn. So I had to like raise all the downstairs rooms, the patio and the front porch up a platform, which was a bit of a pain since some of the items started clipping through the upstairs floor, including the front door, which I had to then change for a shorter door. But then I decided to add the you know how in anime they always have that little area by the front door where they take off their shoes and stuff? I wanted to do that, which meant lowering the front porch again. And again, I had to replace the door back to the one I had before, which for some reason took me forever to find in the menu. I don't know, it was like right in front of me, but I could not see it. It was so frustrating, but eventually I found it, and I'm kind of glad I went through all that trouble, since that was the door I initially wanted to use anyway. Here I start to just add random clutter items I see in the drop-down menu, and you can tell I've started getting a bit tired of building, as I'm kind of just scrolling through and adding whatever. This bookshelf over here I had such a hard time with, because for whatever reason I couldn't find any items that would fit on it. I probably could have gone digging and debug, but like I said, the laziness had started to kick in, so I just couldn't be bothered. I eventually stashed pretty much just the first things I end up finding, which is this dog statue and the flower in the vase. At this point, I was probably over 3 hours in, and I still hadn't done any of the landscaping, so I just wanted to get it done. I should probably stop doing builds of this size in one sitting until I get better at building, to be honest. I don't know why I do it. No one is stopping me from taking a break, and yet I always feel like I can't stop until I'm done. This is also why I'm kind of excited to do some apartments. They're just a significantly smaller undertaking, so I won't burn myself out on a build just for the sake of completing in a day. Now we're on to the landscaping, and honestly, it's a little embarrassing, not gonna lie. I do just like the bare minimum to make it presentable. That backyard is easily the ugliest thing I've built in The Sims 4 so far. Even uglier than that build I made using only the cheapest base game items. I just sort of slap a terrain paint on there, add a couple of picnic tables and a swing set, and call it a day. The patio itself is also so barren. I definitely gave up on that. I'd actually planned to put effort into it, since one of the things Kato liked was patio decor, but that day was just not that day. Sorry, Kato. Speaking of criminal activity in Willow Creek, I'm pretty sure the Bob pancakes in my save file murdered Eliza. One day I noticed she just kind of disappeared from the household, and at first I thought they had just divorced and she moved out, but then I decided to check on her and she's just completely gone. I went into manage households to see if she had moved out autonomously into another household, but nope, no Eliza. Since that wasn't the case, I figured she had instead died in an accident, which can happen via story progression, so I went into their household to see if her gravestone was anywhere, but no gravestone anywhere on the lot. I even checked Bob's inventory and the family inventory, no dice. Then I checked Bob's family tree and it was just completely empty, as if Eliza had never existed at all. So long story short, I think Bob killed Eliza and erased all evidence of her existence. Here's that absolutely terrible backyard I made. I guess it's not so bad, all things considered, but it's definitely giving base game Max's build, which I guess is somewhat fitting for Willow Creek actually. At this point, I definitely should have just taken a break and finished the landscaping the next day, as my intention was to make like this pretty Japanese-inspired botanical garden in the backyard, but alas, it was not to be. Maybe I'll revisit it sometime later in the series and give Kato the nice backyard and patio he seems to want. I guess we can just say the storyline is that they didn't have time to make the backyard especially nice yet due to all the stress surrounding the move, so they just kind of made it somewhat presentable and intend to work on it more once they've fully settled into the new house. Anyway, hope you enjoyed the speed build. I had a lot of fun making it despite all my struggling. As always, I'll put the house on the gallery. You'll find it under my account ID, which is Gripno, same as the name of my YouTube channel. I kind of did the same thing with Paolo, who is another recurring character in my series, but since he doesn't really have any family, I just moved him into one of the pre-made Max's houses and renovated that to fit him. I'll give you a little tour of that in the next episode of the series. But anyway, the speed build is pretty much done now, so enjoy the glamour shots, and I hope you enjoyed the video.